You know, I always look forward to the end of the year here on YouTube. I've always seen other people do big ol' wrap-up videos about the best and the worst of that given year, but I've never really done one myself. And what double luck I get is I'm starting on 2019. So forget the best and worst films of 2019, we'll cover that another day. Let's discuss the entirety of the 2010s as we're reaching the end of the decade. And what a decade it has been! So much has happened in the world. Technology and the internet has exploded in a new direction, we've made massive leaps in progression as a society, we've all grown as people, and we've all gotten more accepting of the reality that nothing we do matters in the face of massive corporations monopolizing every facet of our political, technological, financial, and consuming tendencies. I can't wait for the 2020s. Guess I better start sneaking in innuendos to make the content clearly not made for kids. Great. The 2010s have pretty much encapsulated every important event that has happened in my life other than actually being born. At the cusp of 2010, I was a mere 13-year-old boy, only just learning how to swim and moving schools to a place where I finally didn't get bullied. Now I gotta be honest, 13-year-old me wasn't much of a film buff. He knew some big wigs like Pixar and Shrek, but he certainly didn't watch everything and never got around to most major franchises at this point. Even today, I only really just started being a film content creator about 2.5 months ago. So what I'm trying to say is my list is very subjective. This is going to be my list of things I'm aware of, what I thought about them, and how they all compare. You'll probably disagree in a handful of places, and that's okay. You can let me know, just don't be a dick about it, you know? Now the way this list is going to work is we're going to tackle each year of the decade one at a time, but not in chronological order. Really, we're ranking the entire years to see which one was the best year for film in the decade. And from there we'll cover the best, the worst, and fill the background with whatever's not got a point to verbally talk about. And just to make this ranking system a little more stupid and nostalgic, because I wrote this list and it's going to be how I want to do things, I ranked each film with a descriptive word based off of my favorite childhood game, Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door. It's not the most effective system, but it functions. And if it has a question mark next to it, it means I haven't seen it, but it's my predictive guess on how good it is. Most is pretty self-explanatory. I haven't seen Suicide Squad, but I know it's bad and worth a mention for the decade, you know? With all those complications out of the way, let's get into it properly, shall we? 2011 was a pretty bad year for film. The 2010s in general have had some major hits throughout, but they all seem to dodge away from 2011. Sure, we've got the MCU coming through with Captain America the First Avenger and Thor, but they were simply startup films and not really my favourite. I hadn't even heard of Marvel at this point. 2011 was a time of memes being mere screenshots and myself playing Battlefield Bad Company 2 with friends and uploading Call of Duty montages to the massive crowds of 3 people. The most cinematic I really got was watching the teaser trailer for Dead Island or the aperture clips for Portal 2, and can you blame me? 2011 was the time of the Sky Kids reboot, Romeo and Juliet, Alvin and the Chipmunks Chipwrecked, Green Lantern and the Human Centipede 2, oh god! I mean, it wasn't all bad. Hoodwink's got a sequel, but I kinda liked the original. It's my guilty pleasure, and though it certainly went over my head, there was also the fever dream experience of Sucker Punch, as well as the ending of the Harry Potter franchise. And Warhorse, which isn't really that bad of a film, but you know what's a bad choice for a first date? Also Warhorse. Been there. There were some real kickers in the year, and some that I did end up seeing, like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which just shows off some astonishing leaps and bounds in technology, but it was very much overshadowed by all of the trash that came out that same year. Arthur Christmas gives us my favourite interpretation of Santa, but I only saw that like last year, so maybe I'm just biased. But 2011 was the worst of the years, and that's no good for anybody. Oppan Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. In 2012, the world seemed to get a little bit cooler, at least to me it did. I actually liked a mainstream song for once. Every game was getting a sequel, unless you were the start of something gory and new, and memes were upgrading to actual people with charitable potential. 2012 was also the year that I dropped the COD content and started a proper YouTube channel by the name of Dazz Reviews, having just discovered E3 2012 and my love for Nintendo after a 3-year boycott.
That's right guys, Pikmin 3 has left the station and is coming this way.
Some would even say it was my golden age. For movies of the world, it's a little less so. The year was pretty meh. With a lot of films I wouldn't call bad, but just kind of nice that they're there. Some were even good, but didn't really have that grip, you know? Madagascar 3, The Lorax, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. There's also Cabin in the Woods, which I'll never see, but after reading the plot, I'm crazy curious to see how it all plays out. On the other side of things, this was the year of Chronicle, which I thought was the next best thing with its presentation, but I found the ending to be too anticlimactic. I was young. I get it wasn't the point now, but still. Hunger Games had started at this point, but I read the better books. It was my first and last completed book read, Avengers was just wonderful, though I completely missed it at the time. Not gonna miss Wreck-It Ralph though, one of my favourite video game movies to date. And never forget, 2012 was the year that girls were rushing to watch a film about a strip dancer, whilst boys were clambering in to watch a teddy bear film that same week. If only I had ID beyond just a birth certificate. Damn it. If you've been getting upset on the negativity so far, don't worry, this is the part where things level out. And since I've gripped you this far, consider subscribing. I know if you're not subscribed. My percentage of non-subscribers is slowly going down, so thank you for joining me along the way. These couple of months have doubled my subscriber count, so really I just can't thank you enough. Anyway, 2010 was a pretty run-of-the-mill year. Some good, some bad, but it's all up from here. The music industry had some real bangers that I didn't discover until years later, and even the memes had some more substance to them, with songs, videos, and audio taking up the main banner of attention. And rage faces were slowly dying out. Games like Fallout New Vegas, Limbo, Halo Reach, and Dead Rising 2 all gave us some outstanding experiences, but nothing can compare to the cinematics of Heavy Rain that were just next level at the time. Some movies can say the same thing too. Toy Story 3 not only showed how far Pixar's animation had come, but also how to really punch its audience in the gut with an ending that really gets you teary-eyed. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World also blessed us with amazing cinematics that the box office didn't appropriately appreciate, and How to Train Your Dragon started an outstanding trilogy, and introduced me to a 3D experience for the first and only time. There were plenty of other grand films going on around this time, as well as a couple standouts that were a little before their time on those titles. But I missed many of these because of an operation keeping me housebound for 7 weeks over the summer. Great for binging Modern Warfare 2 though. The year was also played with a sizable trash bag, hosting things like one of YouTube's first disaster movies, the Fred movie, as well as kicking off the Twilight Saga, giving us the worst Harry Potter, and there is no film in Ba Sing Se. There is no film in Ba Sing Se. There is no film in... 2014 was basically great. The video game side of things was a little on the slow end, but there are so many iconic movies that spouted from this year. The Lego movie still stands to be one of the most amazing leaps in animation technology. Every frame is literally perfect. And then there's Kingsman, which technically released in 2015 in the UK. That had some masterful direction and cinematography for its action scenes. How to Train Your Dragon was back again, and Guardians of the Galaxy also got praised everywhere, though unpopular opinion here, I'm not too ecstatic on it. I don't know what it is, maybe the villain or the humor, but it didn't quite tickle me as much as everyone else. Groot's still great though. It's also at this time that I actually got sucked into the MCU, with Guardians being the first film. Also here I hopped onto X-Men, which was probably the correctest time to jump in. Planet of the Apes returned, but the novelty was kind of faded to me this time. And I mean, my god, there's so many more to mention. Godzilla, Big Hero 6, when Marnie was there, The Fault in Our Stars, remember that? John Wick, Edge of Tomorrow, Maze Runner, Pokemon the movie, Deancey, and the Cocoon of Destruction. I mean, what a title. Then there was the bad. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was a thing this year, introducing me to my first Stan Lee cameo before realizing who Stan Lee was. Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a thing. Big brain time with More Than 10% Lucy, and the Angry Video Game Nerd movie came out, which, man, I gotta see and cover one day on this channel. The memes were pretty great too, with icons that are still used today, fun in the moment memories, and then celebrities scrounging whatever they can to stay relevant and unfortunately succeeding. Though the internet never broke, alright? Damn. 2013 was a big year of just good films, and a good year in general. Gamers got BioShock Infinite, Grand Theft Auto 5, The Last of Us, Super Mario 3D World, Pikmin 3, Stanley Parable, and The Wolf Among Us, rest in peace. Whilst the masses were hopping onto the memes of the Harlem Shake, twerking, Surprise Patrick, unflattering Beyonce, never forget, Ryan Gosling won't eat his cereal, and the wow, so many attention of Doge, rest in peace. The only thing really holding back the year was Robin Thicke's blurred lines and Miley Cyrus's reinvention to some people. But hey, at least we got What Did the Fox Say out of it by Ylvis? Am I saying that right? I've never seen Pacific Rim, but damn do I know it's excellent. I only got to see the sequel on a plane once, so clearly my life is tragic. We also got Edgar Wright's The World's End, which, while not my favorite, is still an Edgar Wright film, like, come on. We also got some fan service with Monsters University and the absolute bombardment of Frozen as a movie icon. I'll review it in 3 days. Not to mention, the Horrid Henry movie. You can't get much better than that. The Purge started this year and I never watched them, but I could definitely get into them if they were smarter, did more with its concept, you know? Pokemon came back with another fancy title with Pokemon the Movie, Genesect and the Legend Awakened, and bad movies of the year weren't too overbearing either. Here we felt Thor, The Dark World, Turbo, The Hangover Part 3 and The Wolf of Wall Street, which might not actually be bad, but my god is it dry. I couldn't finish it. And I finish everything. What a mess of a year. Suddenly, everything in life seemed to be going at Mach speed to me. The gaming world had killer games on all fronts. The carsy sporty types, the emotional story types, the big open world adventure types, the build your own level types, and the jump on the bandwagon of shooting down EA types. The meme world wasn't too much better, with the world seemingly hopping onto things as a collective with the elusively coloured dress, Netflix and chill, and the infamous left shark. We also had a couple leftover Vine references in Why You Always Lying and What Are Those? Which only one has survived the test of time. And John Cena. Not even the songs could be safe from the memes sometimes. Hello. Now in the way of films, I actually see that not many have an excellent tag. But the turnout of so many iconic films are just undeniable. Kingsman again in the UK, Mad Max Fury Road, what a spectacle that was. Inside Out, a great tool for kids even if I didn't find the story 100% golden. Ant-Man, a twist on a usual Marvel film, and it hosts my favourite MCU character, though damn I wish it kept up with Edgar Wright. Those Louis scenes totally originated from him. Stripper and Teddy Bear return for round 2, though I still haven't seen either of the 4 films. The Martian is great and tense. San Andreas? Well, my mum loves it, but I saw 2012, so I get it. When did 2012 release anyway? 2009? Star Wars The Force Awakens barged in with a big return that wasn't a disaster. I distinctly remember watching it over Christmas by myself at my new local cinema with a fancy slice of cake and having a really nice time. Avengers Age of Ultron was great, though missing it at the time really left me confused over future continuities that I watched first. The Shaun the Sheep movie is very fun and British. I watched it with a bunch of like-minded goofy comedy Brits, so I really enjoyed it. Sorry, Americans. And there's a sequel that you guys haven't gotten yet. Part Bart, Mark Cart, Plart Bull, Mop Cool, Pull Blart, Mole Cop 2, anyone? Ugh. And even then, there's so many other noteworthy films to get mentioned, and there's literally not enough time to even name them all. Hopping down to the bottom of the list, we do also have to deal with Alvin and the Chipmunks Road Trip, The Good Dinosaur, Pixar's second low, as well as the Smosh movie. No YouTuber ever gets it right. Hot Tub Time Machine 2, 50 Shades of Grey, oh yeah, and Pixels. Oh man, I gotta cover that in the future as well at some point. Still, this year was just crammed full of films. It covers the whole spectrum, but just look at how many big films popped up this year. God. Right, that's enough. Oh man, 2018 was a big year, from every angle as well. Memes were going crazy with the whole Tide Pod epidemic, Bongo Cat, Yanni and Laurel, I Don't Feel So Good, and my personal favourite, Slaps Roof of Car. And that just scratches the surface. Then on the gaming side of things, we got Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, Smash Ultimate, Spider-Man, Celeste, and Detroit Become Human, all battling to be #1, and each with a good chance too. I also enjoyed watching A Way Out. Nintendo Labo and Fallout 76 were there, and right off the bat, boom! Avengers Infinity War. I watched this on its midnight release. The cinema was full mostly with students in my year, and it was just magical, especially with everyone audibly upset at each coming death. And unpopular opinion here, I think it's better than Endgame. It just felt more powerful being Thanos' story. But moving past that, we come to yet another masterpiece that I'd say is one of the single best films for the decade, if not also Infinity War, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Once again, every single frame is just art, with so many little details sprinkled in and a character I can finally relate to. Perfection. Ready Player One was also there as a great love letter to, well, really everyone, but I loved the Easter egg element especially. It's right up my alley. Black Panther also did wonders for representation, and it's pretty good, mostly. Deadpool got its sequel this year, and I still love Deadpool, though I was a bit weak-stomached for some of the gore this time around. I know, it sucks. Speaking of best character sequels, Ant-Man and the Wasp. This was really Marvel's year, and I loved that post-credit scene, especially because of the waiting I actually had to endure. Bohemian Rhapsody, wow, what a tribute to a real person. I could watch that kind of franchise for years. The Happy Time Murders, haven't heard of it? You gotta watch it, an adult-themed Muppet show, something to really confuse the copper higher-ups. We also got Bo Burnham's 8th Grade and How to Talk to Girls at Parties. No. Teen Titans Go to the Movies isn't really worth mentioning, but researching it I found it had 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the Wikipedia page wrongly labelled it as 1%. Someone's trolling and got away with it. The Incredibles got their sequel. I enjoyed it, but the story lacked compared to the first. It was, however, the start of me reviving the Dazz Reviews channel after editing my final film project for 137 hours. Having to make a film entirely on green screen was a horrible disaster to fall into. I've said a lot already for this year, but there's so many more things that I could talk about more, but we'll skip some stuff. On the bad side of things, we have Solo, which isn't as bad when you use it as a coping mechanism when you're in your first plane landing. Pacific Rim Uprising, also not bad for a plane, but a terrible sequel. And Illumination Entertainment's The Grinch, which I assume is bad because... Though 2018 did give us Bandersnatch, remember that? Good times. 2016 was a solid year, with a good lineup of strong shows and only a handful of disasters. We finally achieved peace with Pokemon Go and ruined it with Brexit that same year. Gamers got triple A games like Overwatch and Persona 5, and indie masterpieces like Inside, Firewatch and Stardew Valley, and also No Man's Sky. Memes were more person-based with Damn Daniels, Rip Harambe's and Dat Boy. The screenshot memes were pretty decent, and we even started getting into wholesome happy content. According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way. As for films, does Zootropolis mean anything to you? Yes, that's what it's called in the UK. A fantastic film. Captain America Civil War, my favourite MCU film before Infinity War, and the first one I buckled into other than Guardians. And it introduced us to the best Spider-Man and his best dialogue. It was here we also got the first Deadpool. I love Deadpool, what a great passion project. Moana was pretty good, La La Land was iconic, as was Rogue One, Kung Fu Panda came to an end, I haven't seen it, but I heard it's great. Doctor Strange was a win for VFX, and Sausage Party was another great twist on conventionally child-focused films. I gotta get around to covering it one day. Jungle Book was the first hyper-real live action that should have been a warning, but I never saw it. And then on the other side of things, the corporations between Secret Life of Pets waned closer, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them attempted a Harry Potter revival, The Angry Birds wasn't actually that bad, but the app movies are here now, and Batman v Superman was a train wreck to see in cinemas. Just look at all those explosive physics, ridiculous. Suicide Squad? Same year? Yikes, DC. And Sing. Thanks, Illume. I hate it. I recognize none of these music tracks. Has music finally merged into one generic song? Well, guess there's no music this title card. 2019 was the big finale, whilst at the same time it was awfully experimental, and it shows. Video games were blessed with the introduction of Cadence of Hyrule and Sekiro for the first half of the year, and then Untitled Goose Game, Luigi's Mansion 3, The Outer Worlds, Modern Warfare reboot, and Pokemon Sword and Shield. Kinda seems slow to me, especially Nintendo. No wonder I changed my content this year. Memes were good, being more culturally charged with the dissatisfaction of the masses. Epstein didn't kill himself, and Kylie Jenner is not #1. Egg. Also, Area 51 was a blast to show we can all still have fun when we want to. Image memes weren't too bad either. So those big productions? Obviously, we've got Avengers Endgame, the culmination of 10 years of the MCU. All I wanted to see was the combo superpowers like The Incredibles, and hey, I got it, so I guess I'm happy. Pixar also rolled in with the final sequel to end all sequels, and a masterful ending I didn't know I needed. A story so good it kickstarted my movie content career. And then The Joker. Finally, a DC movie hit, and a way cooler direction for superhero movies compared to the norm. I want more, go DC! Also, damn, Detective Pikachu comes through with an excellent video game adaptation. That CGI cartoon's done right. How to Train Your Dragon came to an end, a similarly outstanding trilogy. We also got all sorts of decently ranking films like Rocketman, Booksmart, which I heard was really good, Shazam, the second Lego movie, Godzilla King of Monsters. If you want monsters fighting, you got monsters fighting. Or how's about just the bombardment of other noteworthy films? Happy Death Day to You, a wacky sequel that was a tad ruining, but oh well. Spider-Man Far From Home, Yesterday, which could have been so much bigger. Dora and the Lost City of Gold. That's a weird one. Captain Marvel, the Lion King remake, which is a stain on the film industry, but it prints money. Gemini Man and Last Christmas, which is apparently stupidly literal to the lyrics. And then there's the bad. You know the ones. Abominable, Dumbo, Ugly Dolls, a toxic film that tells kids even non-ugly things are ugly, Dark Phoenix, The Secret Life of Pets 2, Tall Girl, Maleficent 2, and the Playmobil movie, the thing that properly kicked up this channel. And then there's only more that have yet to release as of this video. Frozen 2 out today, as I said, reviews out in 3 days. Jumanji, The Next Level, which I hope doesn't get too dried up. Rise of Skywalker. It'll be a big finale piece, but I doubt it'll ever hit expectations. Though I also haven't felt a lot of hype personally. Cats, oh boy, and Spies in Disguise, practically begging to not be included in this decade. It releases on the 27th of December. Yeesh. Clearly, 2019 is meant to be the big send-off, but there's one film year that really holds up above even this, and that is... 2017 was the best year for films, without a doubt. The world may not have been too happy, but the entertainment industry certainly was. Gamers were blessed with revolutionary titles like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Cuphead, Sonic Mania, Nier Automata, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, and yes, Fortnite. Some of these would shift the entire gaming industry. Music was alright, again, I don't really know them this time around. Memes had quite a nice ride too, with the high highs of Shooting Stars, which is an absolute banger by the way, a cacophony of good JPEG memes, Crash Bandicoots, whoa 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 whoa, Salt Bay as he's apparently called, and the low lows of the worst of the Rick and Morty fandom. An eventful year to say the least. Forgetting reality though, the films were absolutely phenomenal. They might not have been my absolute favorites of the decade, but the sheer amount of icons for this year far outweigh the occasional goldmine. Thor Ragnarok, excellent, wow. Logan, excellent, such a great direction for superhero movies. The Lego Batman movie, excellent. I just watched it last week, but Batman plus comedy works so well. Coco, excellent, one of the Pixar all-stars and was my #1 for a time before nostalgia rejigged The Incredibles back up top. Paddington 2, also excellent, go watch it, it's literally so wholesome that it kept a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Baby Driver, wonderful, it's Edgar Wright, not my favorite, but it's damn good. Spider-Man Homecoming, wonderful, best Spider-Man gets his own movie. The Greatest Showman, wonderful, what a fun musical. I wish I didn't research the original guy. It, wonderful, an iconic horror returns. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, wonderful. The iconic gang with a less successful sequel, but I don't care. This is the start of color being used in the MCU, and as a colorblind guy, I seriously appreciate it. Just beautiful. Wonder Woman, yes. Your Name, wow. Blade Runner 2049, a great atmospheric revival. Happy Death Day, great. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, but makes sense considering I'm too scared to watch real horror. Kingsman, The Golden Circle, sure, it's flawed, but still in a league of its own with those action sequences. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, great. A really enjoyable, original-ish video game adaptation. The upgrade just makes sense in such a cool way. I'm still skipping stuff. Hop over to the worst of the worst with Lego Ninjago, which a friend of mine tries their best to defend. I'll have to watch it again. The Last Jedi? Yikes on that backlash, but a pretty big deal of a franchise. Justice League? Gotta love Flash. Always gotta love Flash or Quicksilver or Dashpar. Fast guys are best guys. Ghost in the Shell? Anime hitting the mainstream. The Emoji Movie? Oh lord. Baywatch? And The Boss Baby? Oh God. Clearly though, the year is far more weighted in one direction, and that's why it's gotta be my #1 spot. Wow, that's a lot of films and not really a top 10 for them. Here, using all of that information, I'm gonna quickly piece together a top 10 best and worst films of the entire decade. We'll call them stylish and danger for the best and worst. That works nicely. Only rule 1 per year, just to make it a little tougher. Number 10 best film, Pacific Rim. I haven't seen it, but I've only heard excellent things, and just seeing any kind of clip, I can see just how powerful that film would be to watch. Number 10 worst film, The Hangover 3. The Hangover 1 was good, but apparently the sequels completely tarnished it. I haven't seen it personally, but my god, have I heard only bad things. Number 9 best, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Just a wonderful bounty technology that really blew me away back in 2011. Number 9 worst, Madagascar 3. I haven't seen it, I really don't want to see it. I had enough from Madagascar 1, honestly. 2012 does not need a third Madagascar movie. Number 8 best film, Captain America Civil War. One of my favorite MCU films, mashing everyone together, and it's got the best Spider-Man, like come on. Number 8, worst film, The Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie. Honestly, I haven't seen this, but I mean, it looks like hot trash, but it's a wonderful cult film to eat with some popcorn, maybe. Number 7, best film, Wreck-It Ralph. Probably one of the best video game movies ever, and it's originally based. Plus, the fact that it's all arcadey and great, it's just so much fan service. I love all of it. It's so good. Number 7, worst films, 50 Shades of Grey. I mean, it wasn't even sexy. You know, that's like 90% of the books, I mean, not really, but you know, oh, no. Number 6, 2019's Joker. Just, wow, a beautiful new take on a superhero or supervillain. It just, oh, it's good. Number 6, worst film, Pacific Rim, Uprising. I actually watched this sequel, but I know it's just an absolutely terrible sequel. It completely missed the point of the original, and that's just sinful. Number 5, best film, Kingsman Secret Service. Watching those action scenes actually blew my mind, and it's something I would love to see more, but I'm happy that it's just in one franchise. I wish it didn't get oversaturated with more and more movies, but God, was that magical to watch. Number 5, worst films, Cars 2. I mean, I don't think I need to explain that one. Number 4, best film, Coco. It's probably my second favorite Pixar film. It's just so emotional and well-meaning and just good. Number 4, worst film was kind of split between Sing and Suicide Squad. I haven't seen either, but they both look like hot trash. I went with Suicide Squad because I know more about it a little bit, but still, yeesh, DC. Number 3, best films, Toy Story 3. It truly felt like a great homage to fans that had grown up with the series, and the ending felt pretty final. The perfect little love letter for dedicated fans over the years. Number 3, worst films, The Emoji Movie. I'd already covered this in long details about everything wrong with it, and really, it was just poorly conceptualized, poorly executed, and had some really toxic elements in it as well. On the flip side, number 2, best movie, The Lego Movie. Every single frame is absolute perfection. The actual technology and thought behind every little piece being actually Lego parts, including the water, just, oh, I can't even fathom how many amazing choices were crammed into this film. The number 2 worst film is Tool Girl. I haven't seen it, I've just seen other people's take on it, but from what I've seen, it just seems toxic and sinfully bad and just cruel to like people that are tall, you know? It misses the point on reality, and I feel it's toxic for making tall girls subconscious about being tall, you know? Or the reverse. It just, ugh. Our number 1 slot for the best film of the decade is split between 2 candidates in 2018, that being Avengers Infinity War, because that was an experience and a half to go through, the most ambitious crossover ever, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Again, the animation was perfect, every single frame had something going on, like the animating on twos for symbolic effect and all sorts of other references. Honestly, it probably goes to Spider-Man, but Infinity War really put up a fight, I tell ya. And the number 1 worst movie of the decade is again split between 2, that being Fred the movie, the start of disaster for the YouTube world in the mainstream, and The Last Airbender. I mean, honestly, I watched this ironically for fun once in my first year at uni. It was asinine, like no positive traits. Misculturalization, mispronunciation, bad story, bad pacing, bad presentation. You need like 8 earthbenders to move a single pebble slowly. Way too much emphasis on meditating, which might have been cool if there was anything else going on in this frame. It was just awful, awful film. My God. And that's pretty much all I have to say about this past decade. 2020 isn't looking too bad either, with a solid middle ground, and there's some nice startups and faces appearing too. Obviously, you've got the bigwigs, but also Bill and Ted Face the Music, Godzilla vs. Kong, Bob's Burgers, and potentially some low lows. I'm looking at you, Minions, Doolittle, and Mulan from a moral perspective. Still, we'll have to come back in another 10 years to see how the second Roaring Twenties turned out. And hopefully it's not going to follow another crippling financial disaster like last time. Whatever the case, I'm staying here as long as I can, so cop a fill on that subscribe button. But for now, my name's been Dazz, you didn't really care, and I'll see you in a bit. Oh, this was 29 pages to write out all the notes and script, my God.